Poor
right?
sensitive Will Rogers. I'm sorry I don't like the chimichanga stuff. I'm sorry.
Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week, we are talking about Deadpool.
You saw the title. You clicked on this. You tapped. You chose to be here. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just break the fourth wall?
Oh, God.
Let's get some chimichangas.
William, why do you keep talking about chimichangas? There was a single chimichanga joke in this. So I knew nothing about Deadpool. Mm-hmm. And Will, basically, anytime Will talks about Deadpool, he complains about the number of chimichanga jokes.
I would have to imagine. So there are a lot of Deadpool fans out there. And I bet the Deadpool fans are equally tired of chimichangas. So something happened with Deadpool that I don't even know. I didn't find it in my research. I didn't bother to go looking for it, to be honest.
Okay.
Deadpool is actually, I can answer your question while just explaining why we're doing what we're doing.
Great.
Deadpool is a Marvel comic book character who has now got a series of movies. He's starring Ryan Reynolds, who has, it seems like, become Deadpool.
Yeah.
But he's a character who is hilarious. So zany, says the most LOL random things.
Yeah.
And at some point, his popularity exploded in maybe I want to say 2000s or 2010s.
Okay.
And whoever was writing the comics at that point was like, oh, he's funny. Let's have him say the most hilarious, most random stuff. How about he'd rather get through his mission so he can go have some chimichangas.
Oh, so in the comics, chimichangas are more present.
To my understanding, yes. But even this is going to be an important disclaimer for this entire episode.
Yeah.
I think even the fans of Deadpool are sometimes annoyed by the times when Deadpool gets too silly and too memey. And I think chimichangas was when it crossed the line for everyone. But chimichangas then became the shorthand for anyone who hates Deadpool to be like, oh my God, the chimichangas guy.
I understand. Okay, so Deadpool jumped the chimichanga at some point.
Yes, Deadpool talking about chimichangas nonstop seems to be when he jumped the shark. Now, I want to be clear.
Yeah.
I don't like this character.
Yeah.
The only reason we're even talking about Deadpool on the show is because it was at the end of episode 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Our Sweeney Todd episode 335. I don't even remember how we got to it, but the last 10 minutes of that show are us popping off about how much we... Oh, also, there's no avoiding it.
Yeah.
This episode is going to technically be rated R. We somewhat pride ourselves on being PG-13-ish.
Yeah.
There's no avoiding it with Deadpool, either for my quotes that I've got to read to you, or for my pure anger at some of the Deadpool stuff. He's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And we popped off at the end of episode 335 about how miserable this character has been to us.
Well, honestly, it wasn't even the character, and I hate to do this. I don't want to attack a person. I knew nothing about Deadpool. I'd seen the trailer or something. Like, it looked like something I did not want.
Correct.
It's Ryan Reynolds for me. I don't care for Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. He was really the focal point of the ire.
Yeah.
Now, we jokingly were like, oh, well, people seem to enjoy us losing our lunch.
Well, I have to say, we got it's some of your fault out there, not everybody.
Oh yeah, we blame you.
We got a lot of positive feedback.
We got a lot of positive feedback about people hearing us hate Deadpool. So I hope you're ready for it for a whole hour.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes at the end of an episode will be different from a whole episode.
Certainly.
But that is also why, talk about being self-aware. I knew that coming into this episode, it can't just be us dumping on this
I
character for an hour.
I tried to take some notes about things that I liked.
Good. Yes. Now, I did my damnedest to try to find the silver lining. I went out of my way to try to say, I don't like what I've been exposed to of this character. I wanted to deliberately go seeking the best stories, the best whatever, that had the highest chance of turning me into a fan. Yeah. Or if not a fan, at least somebody who understands that he is more than fart jokes and chimichangas.
Right.
And acting like Jim Carrey in The Mask. Which, spoiler alert, is mostly how I feel about Ryan Reynolds specifically. That this man has been copying Jim Carrey from The Mask and getting away with it.
Yes.
But we'll get to all of that.
To an egregious degree.
And so much more. But you know it. You love it. How about some
Even
fucking commercials?
Doing that is annoying me.
You know what? I'm going to break something. The show. Commercial break. That was bad. Even my joke was bad. We're back. It just sucks. There will be no pleasure here today.
No.
So, Kristen, I mean, we sort of covered it. What do you think you know about Deadpool?
Like nothing. I don't think I'd ever even heard of Deadpool before the movie came out.
Okay.
Because I wasn't like I'm not really I'm not into comics or anything. I knew about the Marvel characters, the ones that you know of from TV shows and movies and things like that. So I only heard of him when the movie came out, and from the trailers and commercials it looked annoying to me. And I already found Ryan Reynolds annoying, so I said no thank you. So I knew like nothing beyond that.
What's your history with Ryan Reynolds?
Like So I think my first exposure to Ryan Reynolds was positive, actually, because I think my first exposure was the movie Van Wilder, which came out when I'm guessing I was 18, 19?
Maybe, yeah.
And I liked it. I definitely really liked Van Wilder.
It was that American Pie gross out comedy of the day, whatever.
Right. Yeah. And definitely thought it was funny. I feel like it was played on USA or something a lot, like edited for TV. Yeah. I feel like I've seen Van Wilder a surprising amount of times.
Not in a while, I hope.
Oh, no, not in, 20 years?
I mean, you do you, but yeah, it's been a while since I've checked in on Van Wilder.
No, same. But so, I don't know that is my history with him. And then since then, I don't know, seriously, he kind of always talks like that.
He only talks like this.
And I don't like it.
Somebody stop me.
I don't like it. And he has been presented to us a lot as a good comedian, like a good rom-com actor or whatever, and I really don't like him.
And never once clicked. I think some of my early exposure, of course, Van Wilder.
Of course.
I mean, there's no denying Van Wilder, and it really stung when he didn't come back for Van Wilder 2, The Rise of Taj. That was what hurt the most. That, I think, was the first time
That's when it started going downhill.
He personally
we were like,
hurt me.
well, look at this guy.
I know.
Too big for The Rise of Taj.
Huh, interesting. But I think he became an immediate problem for me. I can't pretend I was a huge fan of Blade. Do you know what that is? That's another Marvel dark, R-rated-ish superhero. He's half vampire, fights vampires.
Yeah, he was Wesley Snipes.
Yes. I like that first movie. And because I'm me, I was compelled to see both sequels, even though
you didn't want to.
Even though I didn't want to, and they weren't very good. Ryan Reynolds was brought in to Blade 3. It's called Blade Trinity, which is annoying. Yeah. It was him and Parker Posey and Wesley Snipes.
I kind of remember that Parker Posey was in Blade.
So the scuttlebutt was that Wesley Snipes had he was difficult to work with. He wouldn't leave his trailer. They had to use CGI to make it look like his eyes were open in a few scenes because he refused to open his eyes. Yeah.
What?
Yes. But it's really...
Well, now I want to see Blade 3.
I know, don't you?
Except that Ryan Reynolds
is in it. And it's I think, Blade Trinity appears to me, and I might be wrong, it seems to me that you can blame Wesley Snipes almost directly for us being saddled with Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
Because Wesley Snipes was so difficult to work with, it left a power void.
Yeah, that Ryan Reynolds
filled with his amazing one-liners and improv, including yelling at Parker Posey, who played an evil vampire. He says something along the lines of let her go, whatever. Stop your evil plot. You cock jump. I can't even say it. It's horrible. Yeah. You cock juggling thunder cunt.
Oh my God. Wow, this really is going to be
funny.
Explicit.
It was so funny. He's so clever. And from that point on, it seems that his association with Marvel stuff had kicked off. Someone who wrote for Deadpool wrote that Deadpool, if he didn't have all his scars and stuff, would look like Ryan Reynolds.
So which I think, just like this.
He's just like this. Yes. Oh, yes. He's not even being Deadpool. Stuff. He's being himself. And it sucks.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so much more damning than just being an annoying movie.
Because that's just like a Deadpool line.
Yeah.
I mean,
juggling thunder.
Yeah. Stop saying that.
I can't. I've heard it. I've heard it before in my past.
I know.
It's in my head.
No, I know.
I didn't even have to look it up.
Maybe
that's not even part of my research. I'm just telling you things I've seen before. Do you understand how deeply I've been scarred?
I do understand. Just for some people's sensibilities, maybe you omit the C.
Fair enough.
I don't care.
Okay,
honestly,
you're right. You're right,
yeah.
and I apologize. That's also why I gave a disclaimer at the start of the episode. I knew a moment like this might come.
You set it up perfectly.
We're talking about Deadpool. I just know that
for some people, that word in particular really gets them.
I apologize,
no,
everybody.
It's not you saying it, but you know,
it was Ryan Reynolds saying it through me. I'm a vessel.
Yeah.
Miserable.
God.
Is how I put it. Misery comedy.
Because obviously you can tell that like some of the Deadpool lines are improvised, obviously. But then I figured that some of it is just like Deadpool humor or whatever.
Yeah.
But
no, it's him.
Oh my
it's
God.
It's the perfect, it's the peanut butter and chocolate.
So 2000s-y. Like,
oh yeah. He calls people
like
in the movies.
2000s.
He calls people like, shit fingers, and he goes like, "What the fuck, pickles? What the fuck pickles are we doing here?" And you're like, "What? How did this movie get made?"
Right. It's absolutely nuts, the things he says.
It's brutal.
Not nuts as in like, whoa, he's so crazy. Just like, what are you talking like this for in a year that's not 1999 or 2000?
Here's the problem.
Dane Cook.
Yeah, like Dane Cook.
It's like Dane
continuing
Cook is
today.
Inside the Deadpool suit.
It's like Dane Cook is still with us.
It is like Dane Cook is still with us. Is Dane Cook just kind of Ryan Reynolds?
I think,
is Ryan Reynolds Dane Cook without all the work?
I think it's a good question because I think they both came up at around the same time.
Yeah.
And they both were frustrating for that, you're conventionally attractive.
Right.
And put together and in shape.
Mm-hmm.
And the level of confidence that you are constantly emitting.
Yeah.
And the randomness and vulgarities that you think
terrible.
Are so shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't age well.
Let us never forget the Sufi.
We can never forget the Sufi. That was the super finger.
Yeah, the Sufi, for people who don't know, is the super finger that Dane Cook invented.
It's your ring finger and your middle finger. It's better than doing just the middle finger. The Sufi.
Yeah.
Really just brutal stuff. I would say anything past
brutal stuff.
2005, maybe. Yeah. I think it doesn't age well. And we are living in 2024, and there's a new Deadpool movie coming.
I know. I didn't you and I watched the trailer for Deadpool versus Wolverine when we were having like a work meeting at Panera, and I wasn't fully able to absorb it.
Yeah.
And I meant to rewatch it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I wonder, will it be changed at all? Is Deadpool always just like this?
So the question you asked is what I was trying to find out. All right. This was part of my mission this week.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? Is this what Deadpool is like in the comics? Is he calling people shit pickle and being LOL random all the time? Or is there something more to it that people are that people are enjoying aside from how hilarious he is? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna just cut to the chase. I'm gonna tell you right now. Almost everything you don't like about Deadpool. Almost. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pretend that what I saw was all sunshine.
Okay.
Almost everything you don't like about Deadpool is because of Ryan Reynolds. If not for Ryan Reynolds and his voice, this character is far easier to stomach in the comic books.
I'm not surprised to hear that, especially hearing that he called Parker Posey that whole thing in, what's it called?
Blade Trinity.
No, because that is exactly a Deadpool thing.
Oh, 100%.
So that tells
100%.
me that
tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, so I can see, because honestly,
we can stop the show now.
I know. Honestly, even though like, it's a little much and everything, I didn't mind Deadpool breaking the fourth wall and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a little bit like silly or whatever, but
I'm okay with it too.
I'm cool with like something different and goofy and whatever. Like, That's fine with me. It's Ryan Reynolds saying all that unfunny stuff and having like an unfunny tete-a-tete with TJ Miller that I don't like. Oh my
God. Some of those scenes, you look like an avocado.
Yeah, that really stuck out to me.
Older avocado.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we're still doing the 40-year-old virgin Judd Apatow delivery.
Now I will say,
you look like this. You know how I know you're gay. Yeah, well, you know how I know you're gay.
It was just shocking.
Like, oh my God, this was in 2016.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. First of all, it was 2016. It wasn't that long ago. What the fuck was going on in 2016? What was in the air? 2016 was a horrendous
time. A horrendous time.
It was a horrendous year for the culture. It was a horrendous year for us personally.
Yes.
This was a disastrous year, and I think that Deadpool maybe wasn't on our radar because we had enough going on.
We were a little busy.
Oh my God.
For people who don't know, just before Deadpool came out, our sister Karen was killed by a drunk driver. And then about 2 months later, our father died.
Yeah. And then to add insult to injury, Deadpool came out?
And then Deadpool came out.
So I guess we just couldn't even process it.
How weird is it that you brought all that up after our weekend?
Oh my God.
Are you comfortable with me saying these things?
Yes, I am.
You
know what? Let's just
open the floodgates, everybody. On Friday, my wonderful daughter Zoe suffered a concussion. She fell and got 3 fractures in her skull, and she thankfully is okay, but we had to spend the entire night in the ER with her. She is so strong and so she really blew me away with like how comfortable she was and how she almost treated like going to the hospital like a novelty or something like that. She was in such good, I mean, she's 3.
Yeah.
It was horrible. But thankfully she's going to be like almost, I mean, knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
She's looking like she's going to be okay, like completely okay.
Yeah.
If you looked at her right now, it almost looks like she just has eyeshadow on. She just has a heavy bruise on one of her eyes, but incredible good luck despite the incredible bad luck.
Yeah.
And then
like incredibly scary.
Yeah. And then because things come in twos for us, do you want to say it or do you want me to?
No, I can. Okay. And then my husband Ryan and I had to put down our dog Crumbs, who we've had forever. We had him as a puppy. Will and I have puppy siblings, and Crumbs was 11 and he's had epilepsy his whole life, and we had to put him down, and it just sucked. So it just was a terrible weekend.
And then we had to watch Deadpool.
And then we had to Again.
And we're back at work today.
Again, Deadpool chases tragedy. This time of our own. Like,
I know.
We controlled the timing. But like, what is he doing to us?
I think that we've got a special relationship to Deadpool, and he's a big pile of shit.
One that I don't understand.
He portends doom.
Absolute doom.
Is it weird we both said doom at the same time in an echo in chorus with each other?
Yes.
We've been texting each other all weekend saying thank God for Deadpool.
Thank God for Deadpool. He's really gonna
get us through
a pressure release
this dark time. So all of that was very heavy.
Yeah.
That is, I think, what people actually
I think
let me get into some of the
is perhaps important because
of how we're behaving and our general manner of being this week. But also I want to call out that with Deadpool in the comics and stuff and everything that I've been exposed to of this character, I think exactly what you and I were just talking about is what people like about this character. So
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
For one thing, you know, the big one I think is that like a goofball, silly character like this for a lot of people is an outlet from daily life as a human being where things can go fucking sideways.
Yeah, totally.
The other thing,
not unlike Deadpool flying through the air when some guy hit him on like a bridge. Yeah. And then he's like very slow-mo going through the air, and we keep stopping to like go through time.
Yes. And it keeps being like, God, I hope we got that in slow-mo.
Yeah. God.
I know.
God damn it.
I know. God damn it. How could you do this to us, God? But,
again.
In the comic books and a little bit in the movies, he's also portrayed as a character who's going through almost like constant misery and suffering.
Yes.
More so than the movies. In the comics, at least the couple of ones that I read, it's like the reason that the comedy fourth wall breaking stuff of Deadpool works at all is that the character in his own mind privately is one in constant pain.
Yeah.
And so he's like, his body's constantly being racked with like hurt.
Yeah, they don't really hit that in this.
No. So there's something of the character. We haven't even really described the character.
Yeah.
But the character is, he's an assassin. He is an assassin. And he's a mutant.
Right.
But his mutation is that he has constant healing factor, like Wolverine, like how you cut Wolverine, he heals.
I have a question, though. Is Deadpool the character, like, an assassin, like, forever now? Like, when he's in that thing?
Okay. His origin.
Because, like, in the movie, like, in the first Deadpool movie, we're really only seeing him, like, yeah, I know that Wade
Wilson.
I keep wanting to say Wade Robinson, because he, or is it Wade Robson? But he was a choreographer for NSYNC.
Oh.
And,
that's
whatever.
Very particular to you.
It is.
No one else makes that mistake.
So anyway, Wade, I already forgot Wilson. Okay, so I know before he goes to Deadpool, is an assassin.
Yeah.
When he becomes Deadpool, does he carry on life as an assassin after that?
Yes.
Okay.
It is how he makes money.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we record live, everybody. So Matthew just, he literally just popped up right in front of my eyes. He's more of a hired mercenary. He takes jobs. You know, so like if somebody needs somebody taken out, you can hire Deadpool. Okay, I gotcha. Essentially, but that's how in the comic books he gets roped in eventually to like the darker side of the Avengers.
Okay,
like the ones that will kill. Okay, he's an anti-hero, right? But so a big part of his healing factor thing is that his body is constantly racked with like stage 4, like terminal cancer. But he's tortured by this bad guy who like brings out his mutant gene stuff. So the cancer is constantly healing itself and his body is constantly fighting the cancer. So I
guess I didn't really understand.
It's very weird. I have a hard time understanding it too a little bit, but his body is constantly being overrun with cancer and then fighting the cancer. Okay. So he's always in this like flux pain state. But also a big important thing of the character is that he's got this like real like ethical line.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know what comic it was, but there was some comic where it's essentially like the Hitler concept of like, would you go back in time and kill baby Hitler? There's a bad guy in the comics and they're going to go back in time to when he was a baby.
Yeah.
And Deadpool starts to fight the other heroes because he's like, I've done a lot of things, but I don't kill kids. And so like he like very like has like a hard line.
Yeah.
Where he protects what he believes is right to some extent. And that stuff I think is so important to offset and provide context for the chimichanga guy.
I would think so.
He's wacky and zany because he's suffering and upset and angry and hates himself and hates everything all the time.
Yeah, they don't underline that. No. Like they do show you that he has cancer, like before he becomes Deadpool, and they definitely show like that bad guy like torturing him to bring in his mutant gene and everything, but I don't think ever say like, yeah, now he's impervious to injury and everything, but they don't say he's in constant pain now. They really just kind of underline that he looks like this now.
Right. Yes. Because now he looks all, freaky deaky, and that's why TJ Miller says you look like an avocado, fucked an older avocado.
Right.
In addition to 5 other variations of you look like jokes.
Honestly, I started to write it down and I was like, I can't keep up with all these stupid jokes.
I didn't take any quotes. It occurred to me.
I think I took some, but there were so many.
You don't need to, because if you go to the IMDb quotes section. I
thought that at a certain point, yes.
They have all the funniest jokes. Here, let me, at any point.
I got one.
Okay.
I got one. You look like Freddy Krueger fucked a topographical map of Utah.
Hilarious. I at any point, if you want to pull the lever, I can read a Deadpool quote.
This is our what's his name? Chuck Norris.
Yes, Walker, Texas Ranger, Conan O'Brien lever.
Yeah.
God.
I like that. Let's do one. I'm pulling the lever.
Time to make the chimmy fucking chongas.
No, give me another one. We know about that.
All right. I know, right? You're probably thinking, whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? I can't tell you his name, but it rhymes with Pulverine. And let me tell you, he's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down under.
Just so much.
You want another, or are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. That's forever?
For now.
All of IMDb is just the hilarious Deadpool quips.
Of course it is.
Say the word.
Ugh.
So he's created in 1990. He first appears in New Mutants 98. He's created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. Mm-hmm. And they said, like, from the jump, he was always funny, but he was presented as just a bad guy. He was a bad guy the good guys were up against, but he was always kind of quippy. Mm-hmm. So he runs into whoever he's got to kill. I don't know. This is his introduction. Yeah. He goes, "You're Nathan, right? I'm Deadpool. Pleased to meet you. I was hired to find you. Well, I was also hired to kill you." See, so like, yeah, even that, but that's like totally like, he just is kind of like a motor mouth.
Yeah.
Messy thinker, playful guy. I'm not sure when it becomes breaking the fourth wall, talking about tacos. Like, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But before we get to the movies, can I just tell you my adventure of trying to understand this character?
Definitely. By the way, you just reminded me. We actually had frozen chimichangas in the freezer, and I was going to eat them while I was watching Deadpool in honor.
No.
But then I didn't, really just because I wasn't in the mood for a chimichanga.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I think it could be that simple, but also it might have been some sort of overdose.
Right.
Chimichangas while you're watching Deadpool, you got to be careful.
Yeah, right.
So I made a huge mistake this week. I tweeted... Because, I really wanted to give this a shot.
I know. No, I did too. But I got to tell you, I just found my list of funny things that I was keeping.
Okay.
There's only one thing on it.
Only one thing actually made you laugh. And again, comedy is subjective. I understand people love this. I'm sorry that we are who we are. You should know at this point whether or not you can even continue listening to this episode. Yeah.
Totally. But no, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I remember I said before, I was keeping a list of things. And it only has one thing. It was that in the very beginning when he's still Wade Robinson. When he's still Wade Robinson.
Choreographer for NSYNC.
Yes. Who allegedly had an affair with Britney Spears when she was with Dustin Timberlake.
Oh, good God.
Anyway.
Dustin Timberlake. I thought you were going to say Dustin Diamond.
Blame on grieving.
I know. I'm sorry.
He is like, he's there to like rough up a guy or something. So he's in somebody's apartment and it's a pizza delivery guy. And he takes a piece of pizza from the pizza delivery guy and he goes to hand it to another guy and he drops it on the floor and the pizza's face down.
Okay.
And I was like,
that's kind of funny. Yeah. A cute little moment.
Yeah.
In between.
Torture.
Endless.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Shit
didn't
fingers.
Even become torture at a certain point. It was kind of like a real jolt in the beginning. I was like, ooh. And then I just sort of was like, God, this is just, I think
it's an assault of Ryan Reynolds' personality.
Yeah, but I think after the first 10 minutes, my pulse didn't even raise. I was just like, boy, this is just not.
That was my experience.
For me.
That was my experience too. I don't
Ryan and I watch it together and I was glimpsing him sometimes and neither of our faces were moving. We were just no,
it just happens in front of you. Just happens in front of you. So I'll just say it.
Go ahead and say it.
I get it. I know. I saw these movies.
Yeah.
Before.
I know.
The last couple of days. Mm-hmm. They go down fine. And I think that there are things.
I wouldn't say fine.
They cannot hurt me.
I certainly would have rathered it not be in front of me.
They didn't even make me cringe. I guess that's also where it's like the comedy so doesn't land for me. Mm-hmm. They have the opening titles come up on the screen where it would be like, produced by Joel Silver or something like that. I don't know why I picked Joel Silver, like a 90s mega producer. It's very weird. It's very weird for me to pull Joel Silver. But instead of that, it says produced by some asshat.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that, I get that that's a joke, but it doesn't make you laugh. And the entire movie is like that.
Yeah.
Starring a narcissist who loves himself. I'm like, okay. All right. I mean, I know exactly what you're doing. I know exactly. It doesn't make me laugh. It doesn't make me so not laugh that I'm like, ugh. It just happens.
Yeah.
And that's how the whole movie feels to me. And I think, if anything, I really wanted to hold on to the moments of pure humanity in the movie where characters love each other.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or like...
It was honestly better than I thought it was going
Isn't
to
it?
be.
That is the most shocking thing.
Yeah, it definitely was better than I thought. I was expecting it to just be a constant onslaught of like Ryan Reynolds-isms and to be always just like, oh God, I'm hating
turn this off. Yeah. It's not.
But it definitely wasn't like that.
It's almost like what people said about special effects in Star Wars, right? Like in the prequels, they're like, it's not a special effect if it's happening 100% of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just becomes like a mush of colors. Like everything looks ugly, therefore nothing looks ugly.
Yeah.
Everything is funny, quote unquote funny, therefore nothing is.
Right.
It is all just him talking for 90 minutes.
Well, there's like a whole kind of like middle section of him like, you know, living life as Wade Robinson and like meeting that girl.
Yes. Okay.
And like just kind of like being somewhat normal, even if they're both kind of edgelords together.
Boy, do I wish that Ryan Reynolds would play up that humanity or pain more. Something that He's a good actor. He's a good actor. And what I like about Ryan Reynolds is when he... God, help me.
What?
Remember Amityville, the Amityville horror remake?
Yes.
He is scary and upsetting in that movie.
No, he's good.
When he's being possessed and he's got like tears in his eyes and he looks insane. The wood chopping scene. If anyone knows the movie, you know exactly what I'm thinking about. He is a physically imposing individual.
Yeah.
And something about him being so silly and then going like, put the wood up. And like he's going to chop the wood out of this kid's hands. It becomes so frightening. When he loves his wife or girlfriend or whatever and he's worried for her or he's worried for himself and unfortunately it's always like he just looks like he's about to cry and he gets those glossy eyes.
Yeah.
It's very one note when he does this, but I always like it.
Yeah.
When he's emoting something other than smarmy, smug, hilarious guy.
That's the thing.
It works for me.
I guess I should say, the problem is that it's what he mostly does.
Yeah.
I hate comedic Ryan Reynolds.
It's unbearable.
It's unbearable.
To me, it's annoying.
Yes.
And it washes over me the more it happens, but I never like it.
No. And when he's just being kind of like a normal person, then I like him fine to like him.
Yes.
Like, I actually watched in the last year or so, or rewatched the movie The Proposal with him and Sandra Bullock. It's a rom-com. And he's like a little, I don't know, maybe even just a little Ryan Reynolds-y, but like he's good in it. He's like a romantic lead. He's not being like too nuts.
Yeah.
And it's like he's a good actor, you know?
Yeah.
But like I just do not like his shtick.
That's why Deadpool, for me, the problem is specifically Ryan Reynolds.
God, yeah.
Specifically Ryan Reynolds.
Also, he dated Alanis Morissette for years. So there's something in there. He's got
what do you mean? That's your
good.
sign that he's got something.
Yeah, he's got something in there.
Okay, well, that's a little bit ironic.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, but what's even worse is, don't you think?
Oh, my God.
Isn't that annoying to hear?
Yes, of course it is.
Anyway, so I made a mistake.
So does that speak highly of Ryan Reynolds? Or does it speak poorly? No, it speaks highly of Ryan Reynolds.
You gotta be careful.
Alanis Morissette rules.
You're on thin ice with some of these celebrities that you like.
What do you mean?
We already recorded an episode. We banked it for my paternity leave in a few months of looking at Lady Gaga being Joe Calderone. Kristen's been suffering lately. You've been going through so much.
Yeah, you're right. I've been going through it.
So here's what I went through. I tweeted, because again, I've been trying to find the silver lining. I tweeted something innocent.
Yeah.
I wrote, hey, I need some advice. I'm a guy who doesn't like Deadpool. The chimichanga jokes are just too much. But if there's a comic, cartoon, or game that can make me a fan, I'll be thrilled. What's the best Deadpool story out there? Researching for Guide to the Unknown. Okay? It started off fine.
Yeah.
It started off okay.
Innocent enough.
Drew Mackey of the podcast Gayest Episode Ever.
Yes.
Wrote, I once was given a fanfic where Deadpool fucks Urkel. Not saying that it's good, but it would make a solid plan B. And then that was a good joke.
That is a good joke.
But then I was also, I have to also say I was proud of my joke. I wrote, are you sure it was fanfic? Because what I know about this character, who the hell knows?
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
A lot of people start sending me recommendations. Okay. And then somebody tags Gail Simone, who is an award-winning comic book writer.
Of Deadpool?
And has written Deadpool. Gail Simone retweets my tweet, which for most people would be exciting and affirming.
No.
It opened the fucking floodgates.
Really?
Kristen, my Twitter exploded with Deadpool shit. I couldn't open Twitter without people sending me like, this one's hilarious, that one's good.
I'm shocked. I looked at this thread like, around the time you tweeted it, and I saw, 4 or 5 responses. I have not seen
There's so much. There's still loading more.
Oh my God.
I can't stop scrolling.
So for listeners, this is dozens of responses.
Oh, dozens, easily dozens. What's a person supposed to do? I am not big on social media, okay?
Wow.
I'm comfortable admitting that. I'm bad at social media.
Well, you're not interested.
I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
In my world, you get a couple of things, right? I wanted a couple of recommendations. I did not need my feed filling up, 1, with Deadpool pictures and shit, and 2, now there are so many recommendations. It's the same as the Ryan Reynolds jokes. There are so many. What am I supposed to do? How do I pick which recommendation to go with? Right. So it all became white noise.
Well, you know what? Very nice of her, or they.
Very nice of Gail Simone. Undeniably. So here is what and something else that I think was important that occurred.
That's so funny.
Here is that
You've become quite the Twitter smith in the last few weeks. Because,
my Twitter has kind of gone a little wild.
Yeah.
So
Will also blew up talking about the Blair Witch.
Yeah, I posted a Blair Witch thread and
he similarly had like a million things like this.
Yeah, it was nice. I made some contact with the Blair Witch folks.
Yeah.
So this occurred, and I was like, well, wait a minute. So somebody wrote to Gail Simone, I don't recommend this particular book. That's where the chimichanga joke first started.
Oh, and no, it wasn't Gail Simone's, was it?
It wasn't Gail Simone's book. It was somebody else's. Don't read the first chimichanga book. It's just way too much for poor, sensitive Will Rogers.
Uh-oh.
It's like, what did I do? Now I pissed off the chimichanga fans. I made them mad.
The chimichanga brigade is coming after you.
They're coming after me now. And then he started, I wrote, poor sensitive Will Rogers, I'm not sure how I hurt you. I asked for comics, I got recommendations, but there were so many, I don't know what to do. Won't someone think of poor sensitive me? And he said,
awesome.
Here's a book you should read. Just replace any mention of chimichangas that frighten you with different words like enchiladas, kumquats, Merle Oberon, paprika, formosa, papoose, spleen cysts, Engelbert Humperdinck, and or manimal.
All right, so this is a chimichanga Deadpool fan through and through.
I had a few chimichangas.
These are just funny words.
Poor sensitive Will Rogers. I'm sorry I don't like the chimichanga stuff. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to go back. Was that person just saying words they find funny?
Well, he was saying replace chimichangas with these other things, which implies that those are funny.
That's what I'm saying. He just thought those were funny words, and those are not really funny words. So anytime I see the word chimichanga,
I should instead in my mind replace it with Engelbert Humperdinck.
No, I understand, but he's being stupid.
Yeah.
Right. That's not funny.
He's being funny.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a chimichanga joke lover.
He was mad at me. I was bullied. I was bullied by the chimichanga fans. I get it.
Funny.
Also, all peace. I'm quipping. I'm joking. I don't need more. I understand. I'm joking even right now.
I know.
Peace to the chimichanga fans.
Absolutely.
It's okay for us to be on opposite sides.
Yeah.
It's okay. I assure you.
That's so funny.
So what I did do
it's just a different strokes for different folks kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And then Deadpool makes some sort of gross strokes joke there using the word cock. Always cock, never any different derivation.
I could go for a few different strokes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always low effort too. That's the other thing, is that they all feel like a fucking first draft joke.
But also it's just like so I'm taking issue specifically with cock. It's just never like any other sort of euphemism. It's never like dick. It's never, I don't know, wiener, dong. I think that's a funnier word.
I would prefer wiener just because it's so strange.
Right. It's
there's something about
it's only cock over and over and over. You should switch it up.
You should, but he doesn't have that gene in him. Him having the R rating.
And it crosses movies.
Yes, it does.
I bet he's cocking it up in Van Wilder too.
Undeniably.
Switch it up. Get a cock-thesaurus and be done with it.
Get a cock-thesaurus, Ryan Reynolds. We beg of you.
Oh my God.
No, he's been playing this character since the beginning. You know,
I know
he is Deadpool.
He's gotten us all.
This is who he is.
And it seems so in the live chat that we have on youtube.com/GTTUpod, it was a little bit earlier. I believe that it was Matthew who reminded us that the way that we got on our tear about Ryan Reynolds a couple of weeks ago was that we were talking about the movie Clue and the fact that Ryan Reynolds, at least a couple of years ago, was said to have the rights to it and was developing it.
Oh, that's right.
And in the news just a couple of weeks ago, it was, shared that like Sony TV and Sony Movies have bought the rights to Clue from Hasbro, which seems to me to mean that like that's not a Ryan Reynolds joint anymore. And that's where we got going. So I'm just glad to hear that we're not going to have cock talk in Clue.
We're not out of the woods yet.
I know we're not, but it's
not over until they make it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Just be careful what you say.
True. I'm fine with wiener talk. It's just like, switch it up, my dude.
I know. Oh, it's brutal.
I know.
All right. I have positive things to say in a moment, but I'm going to do the same joke again.
Don't.
He does all the time. Why shouldn't I?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
In addition to breaking the fourth wall, we also take commercial breaks.
I'm sick.
Same joke. Also, I did it in reverse this week because I'm a mess. But also, if you are for some reason enjoying this program, consider going to patreon.com/gttupod and supporting what we are doing. Mm-hmm. You can join on the zombie tier. You get access to our Discord. Level up to the ghost tier, and you're going to get your access to our second podcast, the Netherworld Dispatch, once every month. Yep. Above that, Banshees get 2 Netherworld Dispatches. And then Demons at the way top get an exclusive Netherworld Dispatch every single Monday. It's a super fun show that we do. Go check it out. The most recent episode we called Shyamalan Night, talking about M. Night Shyamalan and the extended Shyamalan family.
Yeah. Who
are all making spooky movies now.
Totally.
Which is very fun.
A whole dynasty going on.
Yeah, so go check that out. Patreon.com/GTTUpod. Thank you. We also have a good review.
Oh, excellent.
Not of this episode.
Yeah.
Titled Feels Like Listening to Your Best Friends, which comes to us from Heather Barnes, who discovered Kristen and Will through our now defunct podcast, Ghost Adventures.
Ah, nice.
After Marcy Giroux mentioned it on her podcast, A Funny Feeling, which is very, very sweet.
Oh, how nice.
Listening to Kristen and Will discuss urban legends, mysteries, all things horror, and supernatural topics is like listening to your funny best friends. It's a great time, and they make you feel like part of the group. You can tell Will and Kristen put a lot of work into their show and researching the topics they discuss, from the research to the editing. All of this combined makes for an entertaining show that you'll be coming back for again and again. 5 stars.
Lovely. Thank you so much. That is so nice. Heather, right?
Yes. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy
much
to hear
appreciated.
That.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for hanging out.
Anybody, if you're willing to leave us a review, not of this episode, maybe of things we've done in the past, Apple Podcasts.
I hope we don't get a bunch of like negative
stars on Spotify. We're going to get a ton of negative reviews
from Chimichanga.
From Chimichangas.
Yeah, damn.
Bunch of Chimichangas being like, oops, I meant to leave 5 stars, but I accidentally clicked 1. Oh, boing, fart.
I was a little
Chimichanga, boner.
I was a little bit paranoid that we were going to get negative reviews because I was like getting into it a little bit on Facebook, which I don't usually do, but I was getting into it on a post about, there's a racist black lawn jockey, statue in like the town next to mine that's like on the road, that I've like written to the mayor about and like tried to do stuff about before. But anyway, there was like a thread about it, and I knew we were putting down crumbs, and I was just like feeling it, and so I was like getting in the comments, like doing shit. And I have Guides the Unknown like in my Facebook bio, and then in my mind I was like, oh man, what if they like go to my bio
and will come seeking retribution?
Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna have a bunch of 1-star reviews being like, oh, this non-patriot and her commie podcast. And I guess it didn't happen.
I'll tell you what, I'm proud of our bad reviews, because usually it's if we mention something even vaguely political, like clockwork, somebody leaves us a bad review, like clockwork.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why it was in my mind. I was like, if I publicly say things, there's usually something that pops up.
We'll see if Deadpool is as political as literal politics. We'll find out.
We'll see.
They don't bother me one whit.
No,
They always amuse me, because I'm always like, somebody mentions that we have our own little bubble or something, and I'm like, right, we must have said something about what we believe in.
Fine by
Understood.
me. Even when people are like, virtue signaling or whatever.
Yeah,
like, I don't care.
I'll take it.
Honestly, I'm kind of happy to virtue signal, because if that makes somebody else maybe think a little different way or maybe do something.
I'm just trying to be a better fucking person than I've been. That's all I'm trying to do.
I know it could be a little annoying or something, but I will take it.
Yeah.
All
right, let's compliment Deadpool.
All right, let's do it.
Here's the good that came out of that thread.
Yeah.
One, I took a look at Gail Simone's book, which I have to say, I think it goes down smooth. And the biggest compliment I can pay to Gail Simone's work is that I read her Deadpool without thinking about Ryan Reynolds.
That is a big compliment. Yeah.
All right. There's plenty of randomness, LOL randomness, but I also was pleased by
it sounds like something that's baked in. You kind of have to.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's totally okay. But what I respected about Gail Simone's work is that the situation that this hilarious character is put in is completely appropriate for the character and brings about like some desperation in him, which again, I feel like the Deadpool character only works to me if there's a contrast of pain and hilarity.
Yeah.
He's funny because of the pain, so he's got to go through a lot of pain. And undeniably, Gail Simone's work embodies that entirely.
Yeah.
Deadpool is the hilarious assassin who, gets shot in the ass and is running around talking about how his ass hurts, but he also kills all his targets, masterfully. While falling down a skylight, he takes everybody out. And there's a gentleman assassin who comes from hundreds of years of aristocratic assassin people who is offended by Deadpool's manner of being. And has Deadpool taken to him, and because of Deadpool's healing factor, he tells his henchmen to beat Deadpool within an inch of his life, wait 30 minutes, and do it again. He constantly has Deadpool almost beaten to death just so that he can heal and do it again.
Oof.
And it's it was interesting. I was
that is good.
Somebody who hates Deadpool because of how annoying Deadpool is.
Right.
Is the villain of that story.
That is interesting.
And I thought that was pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
So the Gail Simone run, I'm going to endorse.
Yeah. That does sound interesting.
Yes, I found that interesting.
I have a question about something that happened. When you mentioned his healing factor and him getting shot in the ass, this reminded me. So before I knew about his healing factor, it was kind of toward the beginning of the movie, he gets shot in the ass on that bridge or whatever, that shootout with the bad guys.
Yeah.
And he says that it went up Main Street.
Right up Main Street.
Right. So, and it looked like it would be shot up, right up his ass.
Yeah.
Right up his anus.
Oh, yes.
Are we meant to think that it was shot up, his asshole?
Straight up his asshole.
And, because of his healing factor, that's actually not the issue that it would be otherwise? When he said right up Main Street, does he mean literally?
Yeah, I think so.
We can't know, but yeah.
We'll never know for sure. I've not seen an X-ray of Deadpool's asshole.
But now knowing that could be a possibility.
Total possibility.
And that could be fine. Is that what he's saying and joking?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I think so too now.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, if anything, the only reason that this Deadpool character even makes a modicum of sense for Guide to the Unknown is that it's rooted in body horror, which also doesn't offend somehow. Yeah. He chops his own arm off, and then it's his disembodied hand is giving the finger to an X-Man character, and it's for some reason it comes off it's obviously Looney Tunes-ish, but for some reason it still doesn't even read like body horror, which it is. So I have no idea why this character can't offend me. I have no, because it's built to it should be pushing buttons, shouldn't it?
I suppose. It must push.
It's just annoying.
It is very annoying. I have a question too. You talking about him chopping off his hand reminded me. So he has a roommate that he lives with.
Blind Al.
Yes. Okay, this is so tangential. What's the deal with them building IKEA furniture? I was a little bit confused. Are they doing this as a service to others on Craigslist? Are they... Okay, because...
What? So you've lost me.
All right, they mention something about Craigslist and doing IKEA furniture. So Blind Al is building IKEA and it falls apart and she's like, fuck Craigslist or something. So...
It's a joke about her being blind and IKEA being annoying. I don't overthink it.
No, I know. But then they keep talking. They're talking about all these different models. He's being I told you to build the Bergen and I told you to do whatever.
Because it's funny to say Swedish words.
Of course. No, I get all that. But it sounds like they are constantly building IKEA furniture. So is this I was wondering perhaps if they are putting out a service on Craigslist where they're like, I'll build your furniture for you. And that's how they're making money or something. And that's like, I don't know.
As far as I can tell, you've gone way too far to make sense of it. It's the same as TJ Miller saying
so much IKEA furniture.
Because they keep hitting the same joke every 5 seconds.
I know.
Deadpool calls somebody like a shit gobbler.
Yeah.
And then they make fun of IKEA names. And then TJ Miller says he looks like, a Shar-Pei fucked a fucking
moose.
old moose. Yeah. Fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right.
It doesn't matter. No, you're overthinking it. It's funny to say Swedish words because Swedish people are funny. And IKEA is funny because isn't it so complicated? And blind people are funny because they can't see. Don't you understand how funny it is? Don't look for meaning.
No, look, of course I do. Are
you out of your mind?
Of course I understand that's hilarious. But it just seemed to me like they were like, you're right. No, you're right. It just seemed like they were constantly...
What's wrong with you?
It seemed like they were talking about repeatedly building IKEA furniture. And it's not like they just moved in. It seemed like their furniture was already established in their home.
No.
So there must be a reason they're always building it. No. But you're right. I guess it's just like the funny words.
The movie has 5 jokes and it just finds different ways to repeat them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
They did it twice. Third one's coming up. The other smart thing that I did on the internet was it occurred to me I have an ace in up my sleeve. I texted Walt Flanagan.
Oh, that's right.
It was from Tell 'em Steve Dave, but is also he used to run.
He's a comic book boy.
He's a comic book boy from the show Comic Book Boys.
Yeah.
And he has an encyclopedic knowledge of comic books. So I just said, I'm not a fan. What's the best one? And he sent me the Joe Kelly arc from 1997, where also I have to say, I got it.
Oh, nice.
I did not hear the Ryan Reynolds voice in my head when I was reading Deadpool.
Nice.
Again, that's the biggest compliment I can offer. And this entire run of books, Walt recommended issues 1 through 12 of this Joe Kelly arc. It's that a guy who had tortured Deadpool and brought out the mutant powers in him and stuff is now at the end of his life being like, I want to do things right. Like how like the Rockefellers or whatever billionaires are always like, it's time to give back.
Yeah.
It's like you spend your whole life taking advantage of people and now you want to give back.
Right.
So Deadpool's not having it, But so he's got this whole thing where he's, he pushes a sword at this old man. But he's saying, not joking, he's like, I can't make it through the night without jumping out of bed with a cold sweat drenching my body. The antiseptic stench of the workshop, which is what it was called, in my nose. The noise of that machine grinding in my ears. I have to bite the inside of my mouth to make sure I'm in the present and not back there. Do you remember? Do you remember what you did to my teeth? So like, again, hit the note of this character is tormented and traumatized and in pain, and I can swallow the rest of it.
Yes. I can see that for sure.
So that is where I'm also now going to compliment Deadpool 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Tell me about this.
Okay. So Deadpool 2 I watched.
Right. I know it has Rob Delaney in it, and I love Rob Delaney.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know who that is?
No.
I think he has a mustache in it.
He's like a very good. Guy. Yeah. It's hilarious that he's a normal guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Deadpool keeps calling him like, way to go, Big Bear. And like keeps saying like that kind of shit to him.
Okay.
Like he's just called like...
He's great in general in life.
I think he might literally be called Todd or something like that.
Okay.
And Deadpool's like, on my team, we've got the Sizzler, the Vanisher, and Todd. Like it's so funny that they just have Todd.
It's like when I was a kid and I made that hilarious joke that cracked you up. And it gave me such pride. We were like little kids.
Little tiny kids.
Yeah. And I don't even know what I was referencing exactly. Like, I don't know. I said Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and George. And Will loved it.
It was
And I was
hilarious.
So proud of myself. It was like my first big laugh that I got from Will or something.
We literally had to be like 9 and 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like very, very little. Your sense of humor at 9 was the sense of humor of Deadpool 2.
Well.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Good for you. Not great for Deadpool.
No.
So in Deadpool 2, they kill his girlfriend. Spoiler alert.
William.
Spoiler alert for Deadpool. Although he, with timeline, there's a lot of time travel stuff. It's unclear what really happens. Yeah. So he ends up being brought in on a mission to help a kid who is a mutant and has like this explosive firepower stuff. And he's threatening to like kill the dean of his school and stuff, and Deadpool comes in. The whole mission is take the kid down, and they successfully manage that. But then Deadpool like looks from the kid to where the kid is focused on the dean, and Deadpool kind of puts two and two together, and he just like in a moment of quiet, he says to the kid, and still all these cops are pointing their guns at this kid, and he goes, something bad happened, didn't it? And the kid is like just looking like so incensed and full of rage, and he goes, did they hurt you? And the kid sort of buckles and finally like nods like, yeah. And Deadpool immediately shoots one of the guys in the head. And the X-Men start to take Deadpool down now. Yeah. And he's like, no, like you can always tell when like something bad happened to a kid or something. And it's just like, that started to hit the
like humanity.
The humanity. Yes.
There's a little shade of that. Like, I think they try to kind of hit that, but it's like a very little moment in the first one where he is hired to, I don't know if he's hired to, I think he is maybe hired to literally kill that pizza guy that I referenced before.
Right.
Because he was like stalking this girl, but he calls it light stalking. We never like, it's very like, it's a very quick plot. It's not a big deal. But, so I think he's hired to kill the pizza guy, and he basically just like scares him, puts the fear of God in him, and he tells the girl like he's not going to bother you anymore, but if he does, call me or something.
Yes.
And then he talks to TJ Miller, and he's like, he's not a bad kid, he won't do it again. Like he's just like a shithead, and he says that he's not going to take the girl's money. He's like, I'm not taking babysitting money.
There you go. Like so that is another, those are the pieces. And that's why I said like in the first one, there are those small nuggets of like a humanity that I try desperately to cling to.
I know.
Those things I think are important for making sure this character doesn't exclusively feel like, Bugs Bunny, but he can say fuck.
Right.
And I think that they're actually, if you're presenting something that doesn't typically appear in a superhero movie, I actually think that gives it might give some form of a catharsis or something to be. I can feel true. I guess what I'm saying is in some of those small moments, I can feel some element of true emotion.
Yeah.
And those become very important to me, and I can respect those things. And they buy the movie about, in Deadpool 1, they buy the movie about like 5 minutes of goodwill. Where I can like, I'll eat a few chimichanga jokes. I'm using that as the shorthand now.
I understand now.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
But like in Deadpool 2, the balance is a little bit better, I have to say.
Okay.
I think this kid now becomes like a big part of the movie. Is like Deadpool knowing that this kid can hurt people.
Yeah.
And also knowing that this kid has been hurt.
Yeah.
And that becomes a very important part of the movie and changes a little bit how I feel about the character, even when he's calling people like Dick Wiggler, whatever. Like, who cares?
Dick Wiggler?
Dick Wiggler. Dick Wiggler.
First of all, it'd never be Dick, it'd be Cock Wiggler.
Cock Wiggler. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, exactly. Because edgy. The worst thing about these movies is that they're R-rated. I have to say, like, in the comic, they have to say "but," and that is funnier to me because I'm like,
funnier word.
But it's like. Somehow having that allowance makes it so much worse.
Yeah, totally. Like edgy doesn't equal funny.
No, it equals embarrassing to me. I have very little more to say about Deadpool, but I do have a monologue.
Well,
it's not Ryan Reynolds. Again, if you want a Ryan Reynolds monologue, I'm ready with quotes.
All right, let's pull the Ryan Reynolds lever.
Okay, here we go. It might take me a second. It's not as fast as as
the
Conan.
Walker Texas Ranger.
All right, this happens at the beginning of Deadpool.
Yeah.
You're probably thinking, my boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned the other guy into a fucking kebab. Well, I may be super, but I'm no hero.
Okay, done.
You want more?
No, I don't.
Are you sure?
I'm positive, but if you want it, then this is a democracy. We have to compromise, so...
No, nothing democratic about it. Crime's the disease, meat the cure. Okay, not the cure. More like a topical ointment to reduce the swelling and itch. And then for some reason it says "Hi Tom" at the end of it, but I don't know what that means. It just says "Hi Tom." I'm not sure why.
Maybe a guy named Tom walked up to him.
I have zero recollection of Tom.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. He says this to Colossus from the X-Men. Now you can switch the lever to turn me off. I'm just off and running. Ready?
Okay.
Listen, the day I decide to become a crime-fighting shit swizzler who rooms with a bunch of other little whiners at the Neverland mansion of some creepy old bald Heaven's Gate-looking motherfucker, on that day, I'll send your shiny happy ass a friend request.
Lever off.
Lever off. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Awful.
Awful.
You're doing a good job. It is awful.
So here's the real monologue that I prepped.
Yeah. Oh, so my God.
I'm a big fan of Mega 64.
Yeah.
It's this internet comedy group it goes back decades. They mostly do video game stuff.
Yeah.
However, a few years ago, about 8 years ago, they released a sketch called The Deadpool Movie. And the premise was, like sometimes they show movies early to kids that might be sick or something.
Yeah.
The premise is a kid asks, can I see the Deadpool movie early? And they're not able to get access to the real Deadpool movie, so this team has to just do their best effort. And all they've seen is what people post about Deadpool on the internet. So the video is all just this guy, Sean Chatfield, in a Deadpool costume, going like, somebody stop me. And then he comes out of a porta potty going like, P.U. And then immediately turns around and starts humping the porta potty. And they cut to the kid who eventually goes, it's perfect. And it's great, right?
It's really funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
Mega 64 is great.
Yes.
They have a podcast, and every week on the podcast, if they've released like a big sketch, they'll do a little bit of behind the scenes. Well, Sean starts talking about his role in the Deadpool costume, and this is what Sean says on the podcast. Okay. It's episode 383. He goes, I hate Deadpool, but I honestly, I'm going to be real, I don't know Deadpool that much. I don't know much about Deadpool. I know he breaks the fourth wall. I know he says cocks a lot, but I don't know much about him. I fucking hate Deadpool, but I hate Deadpool cosplayers 10,000 times more. I knew nothing of this until this fucking epidemic of these cosplayers. Every single time there's a fucking bit, and if you're a Deadpool cosplayer, I'm talking to you. You think you're so fucking funny. We need to go to these conventions and you do all this shit, humping trash cans, or you wait in line for half an hour and tell me you need to go to the bathroom. You thought this was the line for the bathroom. You have this whole fucking thing because you're the comedian. You're the funny guy. You're not fucking funny. I'm sorry. I see this shit all the fucking time. You're not the only one who does this. A lot of fucking people do it. Knock that shit off. Anyway. So I had to put on the fucking costume and I just became everything that I hated. And it was so tough.
It was so tough.
And then their producer interrupts at a certain point. There's more, by the way. I'm leaving out a paragraph.
Yeah. No.
I also didn't. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so basically what I wanted to do was vent my frustration about the Deadpool cosplayers more so than even the Deadpool movie, which will spawn many more Deadpool cosplayers. But I just really wanted to let everyone know what I'm seeing at every convention that we do. I mean, I'm stuck at this booth for, 10 hours a day, and I'm just looking at this constantly. And at this point, their producer, Eric Bador, pops on and goes, I feel like the vibe got real dark when Sean started talking. And everyone starts going, yeah, I had fun making that video. That was a fun day. And Sean, it continues from there.
Yeah.
Sean's not done. I didn't write down the rest of it, but holy shit, so he popped off.
Maybe being covered head to toe, eyes not even showing.
Yeah.
Just and knowing that you are embodying this character who does these things and there will be no accountability.
Yes, no one knows it's you. You can do and say whatever you want with complete carte blanche and freedom. It yields the worst behavior. The absolute worst.
Sean became it himself.
And poor Sean Chatfield, who is like the sweetest individual on that show. Poor Sean Chatfield. He listened to Blackwood too. He shouted out Blackwood on their show once.
I remember. Yeah, he seems.
I'm a fan.
I am too. He seems like a real sweetie. Mm-hmm. So that makes it especially funny with that context.
Yeah.
Brutal. I do think humping things like that is funny, partially because it doesn't happen that often. So I kind of forget about doing that as a joke.
Yeah.
So when somebody humps something like that, I'm like, oh my God.
It's how
when he does that in the Deadpool movie, when
does he do it in the movie? He humps something in the movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
In the sketch.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, holy shit, he really does that? I don't remember.
In the sketch.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Like when Mike Myers humps that
that like mannequin.
It's like a mummy, like sarcophagi.
That's right, in Wayne's World.
In Wayne's World. Like you don't think of humping that often like that, and when it happens, it really gets me.
It is true. Listen, I see where you're coming from. Sean Chatfield goes on to say, he's like, so I just did all this shit. It was the easiest thing in the world. Like just grab a can of soda and put it where your dick is. Just start humping a porta potty. He goes, I get it. It's easy. But that's the problem. It's so fucking easy. Like, it's not clever. It's easy. It's
so funny.
Cannot recommend the Mega 60. I'll put it in the show notes.
It's really funny.
Scaryfun.fun, where all our sources go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put the clip to this podcast moment because Sean Chatfield, it's the most pure
I gotta watch that.
Rage. And you just watch the other guys. Like, it cuts to a wide shot and Rocco Bodie is just kind of like, Okay. I wasn't really expecting it to go that far.
That's wonderful.
It is magical. So.
Love it.
Deadpool's coming back.
Yes, Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yep. Finally, he got Wolverine in one of these movies.
Yep.
I don't know if you felt this way. This is not a compliment.
Okay.
Him constantly talking about Wolverine in Deadpool feels like when Jimmy Kimmel talks about Matt Damon. It's like very similar joke to me, where it's like...
It didn't occur to me. I guess I was just like, oh, I wonder if they've been planning this forever.
No.
And especially when I learned, because I didn't know... Like the first Wolverine reference happens like in the first 5 minutes. It's the thing Will was talking about with his balls down under or whatever.
Really smooth down under.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
That happens like really early, and I didn't know that Deadpool had kind of similar healing properties as Wolverine. So when I found that out mid-movie, I was like, oh, so I wonder if this Wolverine thing has been coming for a while, and that's why he mentioned him.
You know...
Like, has it happened in the comics?
Yeah. They're teamed up a lot in the comics, I think.
Yeah.
I can't pretend I know that much about the comics.
Yeah.
He's in the first Wolverine movie, like that X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. You know what I'm talking about, where he has those Roger Rabbit-ass claws.
Seen it. Yeah.
Deadpool is one of the like main fights at the end.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool and is just as quippy as you might imagine. And then, so he's called the Merc with the Mouth.
Yeah.
And throughout the entire movie, they keep being like, aside from your mouth, you're very good, Wade. And then at the end of the movie, he's been tortured and been put through the ringer, and his mouth has been sewn shut, essentially. And he's been turned into like a mindless robotic killing machine against Wolverine. Oh. And Wolverine even has a line
where he's
like,
like pretty big role in Wolverine then.
Yeah, it's decent. He's in the beginning as himself. And then at the end, he's all like scarred and it's all because of, you know, the same, he comes from the same place that like tortured Wolverine and put, you know, metal on his bones and stuff. So
wait.
Yeah.
So this isn't in the same, is it not in the same universe? They put metal on his bones and stuff in this?
Universes no longer matter, right? Like everything's been merged in the multiverse and blah, 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 blah. You know, Wolverine, remember when Brian Cox was the bad guy against Wolverine?
Do I remember? I've seen this movie 8,000 times. I can curse here. I fucking love the X-Men. If you're watching X-Men 97, you're doing the right thing. It's so good. So yes, I do remember that. So
the Brian Cox character is played by a younger performer in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
But yeah, his entire initiative, the Weapon X program, it's called. That's what tortured Wolverine and put metal on his bones. That's where Deadpool...
Adamantium, but I hear where you're coming from.
A type of... I'm sorry, it is... I will say at least adamantium is a type of metal alloy.
Of course it is.
Unbreakable, yes. Not unlike vibranium, which makes Captain America's shield.
Of course.
Don't test me.
I shouldn't have come for you. Honestly, I shouldn't, because I only know like barely anything.
But so that's where Deadpool was also similarly tortured and experimented on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, also in the movie Deadpool? Like it's the same facility?
In the movie Deadpool, it seemed that they had to sort of rewrite some of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Deadpool the movie is almost like a reboot of how the character was treated in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay.
At the end of Deadpool 2, he quote cleans up the timeline and goes on a killing spree. He kills the version of himself from the end of X-Men Wolverine.
Okay.
And then there's a moment where Ryan Reynolds, playing himself, is reading the script for Green Lantern.
Okay.
And says to himself, "You've hit the big time, kid." And then gets shot in the head by Deadpool.
Yeah, there was a Green Lantern joke in Deadpool.
Oh, there are plenty of Green Lantern jokes. Again, there are about 5 or 6 jokes, and they'll hit them all the time.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know, something about his suit, and he's like, choosing his suit, he's like, I just don't want something that's like green and white or something
He also has a photograph of Green Lantern in his wallet at the beginning of the movie or something. It's like, I know Ryan Reynolds was in a shitty movie called Green Lantern. Well. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get every joke.
Yeah.
None of them went over my head.
No.
I wish they would. I'm done. Yeah. I've had enough.
No, I'm good.
Do you want more quotes, or are you just done?
No, I'm done. No, I don't. Why do you? Again, it's not all me. We're in a partnership here.
You're right. Okay, let's see. I already said the crime fighting shit Swizzler line.
I'm pulling the thing.
Okay. Again, it takes me a moment. Here we go. No, none of them are good.
Okay, all right, so we're done. That's enough. We're good.
You've been spared, everybody.
Well, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this cursing episode.
I know. Yeah, this is a rarity, but we're in a unique place in our lives, and we had to talk about Deadpool. So what do you want me to do?
So it's 2 reasons for us to curse this week.
Listen.
Oh, damn it. I knew you were going to do this because you were still scrolling.
Still scrolling.
I know.
I'll never give up on Deadpool.
Ugh.
Listen, we both know that cancer is a shit show. Like Yakov Smirnoff opening for the spin doctors at the Iowa State Fair shit show. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, plug in silly words, Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, no more.
No more.
Oh, no.
Stop. I know. After this, you remove your finger from the screen of the iPad and you stop scrolling. Go ahead.
All right. This is the last one. Okay. Here we go. Colossus from the X-Men, who's made out of metal, says, we can't allow this, Deadpool. Please come quietly. Deadpool says, you big chrome cock gobbler. Yeah. And then Colossus goes, that's not nice. And Deadpool says, you're really going to fuck this up for me? Trust me, that wheezing bag of dick tips has it coming. He's pure evil. Besides, nobody's getting hurt. That guy was already dead when I got here. Felt like somebody he already killed.
Yeah, I know.
So we got cock gobbler and dick tips out of it. Just that one quote.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll give it to him. He didn't say cock twice in that little run.
You're right. But almost every...
That might be the only time.
So many funny lines are just hyphenate something.
Yeah, I know.
Shit
totally,
Twizzler,
I know.
Cock gobbler,
yes,
dick tips. Mm-hmm. It's always some hyphenate.
Yes.
Hilarity.
Totally.
Oh!
That's like his formula. If he was teaching a master class in this, it would be like find a hyphenate.
Put 2 words that don't belong together
and he is
side by side and put a hyphen in there.
He is a multi-hyphenate himself. This guy's a hell of a businessman, I will say. Do you know that he has like 1 million businesses?
I know, Mint Mobile.
Yeah.
The one thing, if I could clean up our timeline, the one thing that I would want to retract from episode 335 is that we say, like, how can this guy even be with his kids? And I'm like, you know what? He's a human being. Yeah. I bet he's a fine human being. This is not, again, the whole point is not that Ryan Reynolds sucks as an individual. It's that his comedic performance is a big fucking wet shit ass turd when it hits my ears.
Yes, absolutely.
He's fine. I've got no beef against Ryan Reynolds. I'm gonna see the new Deadpool.
Yeah.
I've already, from birth, I've been on this journey where I can't stop myself. If I ever, I'm just screwed. Are you gonna see it?
No.
You're not gonna see it.
No.
I don't know. You like Wolverine.
I do. I really like Wolverine. But you know what? I forgot. I did not see that X-Men Origins Wolverine thing.
Oh, but that was so long ago.
I know.
Come on now. But this is supposed to be him, like a true return to form.
I know. I think it was because I knew that everybody was like, this is terrible.
He's in the yellow and blue costume.
I know.
The whole thing. And he's going to say dick head. And
I know. I do love Wolverine. I love X-Men. I don't know. Maybe. It's not
the trailer. I have to say the trailer looks fine.
No, I mean, it just looks like Deadpool. I haven't watched it since we watched it in Panera and could barely hear it. I would like to, maybe we'll see. You don't really see Wolverine in the trailer. You just kind of see like the shadow of his.
You see plenty of them. There's now an extended, maybe we watched the short form.
I didn't see that.
There's an extended one where you see plenty of them. It might be all you need.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
But.
Well, all right, I'll check it out.
All right, everyone.
All right. Actually, I want to watch it now. So let's go.
Okay, let's watch it.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Did I talk about that in that episode?
I think you said something about it. You can't stand it when people say, let's go.
I can't fucking stand it when people are like, let's go, let's fucking go on reality shows and stuff. I can't stand it.
Yeah, we're gonna go watch the trailer for Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine?
I don't know. I thought it was Deadpool versus Wolverine.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yes.
If you're a chimichanga person, I'm sorry. It's just comedy is subjective. There's going to be stuff that I like that other people hate, and I totally get that. People are sick of hearing me talk about Blair Witch on this show sometimes.
Absolutely. It's just
I get it.
A preference.
It's all good. It's all gravy. It's all good. This is just us trying to make sense of this character, who I think works in very specific circumstances, handled best by Gail Simone and Jack Kelly, I believe, in the comic books.
Yeah.
And anytime that there is true emotion in the movies, I think it is good.
Same. And, it really is just different strokes for different folks. Mm-hmm. No judgment if you like the chimichanga stuff. There are things that I like that Will doesn't like. He isn't thinking I'm an idiot.
No, right, no, of course I don't. Of course I don't.
All right, let's go.
Yikes.
Will doesn't even know about Wade Robson.
I know, the choreographer for NSYNC. Well, now I do. Thank God you've enlightened me.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I took away from this episode. All right, patreon.com/GTTUpod if you're of a mind to support and get access to the Netherworld Dispatch or our Discord in particular. Yeah. At GTTUpod on all social media. We post whenever we're going live. We post whenever we've got a new show out there. You can also follow us individually.
Yep, I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at The Myth Traveler. Please, no more Deadpool photos in my replies. It is my own fault, and yet I'm fine. I'm done.
They're trying to help you.
They were trying to help me, except for that one guy who said I was like...
sensitive.
Poor sensitive Will Rogers. My good God. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week, and it won't be Deadpool. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the Netherworld go we.
What are you still doing here?
Oh, God.
The podcast is over.
Oh, God.
Did you stay after the credits?
No.
He does the Ferris Bueller after the credits. He's wearing the bathrobe and everything. It was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you.
I don't know. I didn't see it. It doesn't sound particularly hilarious.
You'll have to watch it again.
No, I don't think so.
No fast forward. Just have to start from the beginning, get through to the end of the credits.
I don't think so.
Oh, God.
Deadpool. Oy, 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 oy.
Deadpool.